Tonight's our last night with the Audi RS6 Avant, and I wanted to show you guys a night drive. There's some really cool features that really stand out and show themselves in the dark, one of which is this taillight sequence. Headlights do the same thing. It's pretty cool when you walk up to the car and unlock it. You also get a little Audi Sport logo underneath the doors on all four corners. Very cool. I'll show you guys what the headlights look like here too. How fun is that? The interior lighting in this is pretty nice as well. Really enjoyed driving this car this week. It's taken me a little bit to warm up to it. This is definitely one of those cars that the more I've driven, the more I've appreciated and enjoyed. When I first got into it, I was kind of disappointed. I thought it was a little bit soft, a little bit too subdued for an Audi RS product. But the more I've driven it and lived with this RS6, the more it's grown on me. I really do like this thing now. It's just a great daily driver. It's wicked fast. It's mature. It's very refined. I think it splits a nice difference between performance, driving enjoyment, comfort, and the focus is more on comfort. So let's go for a drive. We'll talk a little bit more about my week in this car. And let's see. I think I've covered quite a bit of this stuff in the review, but we do have some ambient lighting here that we can see in the parking structure. You can go in and adjust this. It's not that easy to adjust some settings in this RS6, and that is one of my bigger complaints. Stuff like the gauge cluster and display brightness, that should just be a slider over here, but it's not. You have to go into a bunch of different menus, and then you can adjust the brightness. The other thing, these climate control screens, I just think it's not necessary. We really just should leave climate control to the buttons and knobs. And it works fine. Once you kind of set it, you can forget it. You can easily turn on your heated and cooled seats. They even turn on at the same time, which is total baller status. But it just takes that much more effort and that much more distraction away from driving. And I think it's just unnecessary. Audi could do without that. There are some quick access buttons like your driver assistance, but even then you have to go in and turn on and off settings by clicking a menu. There's just a lot of inputs that you have to do. I think Audi could streamline a lot of this stuff and improve the infotainment. But that said, it's not bad. It is reasonably responsive. This RS6 has soft closed doors, which are very cool, very luxurious. And this door handle feels electronic. I don't think there's a physical control there. That's kind of my summary of the interior. Otherwise, amazing materials, really nice touch points, a little bit of gloss black plastic. The ambient lighting is really cool. I kind of like this red because it matches the exterior, but you can change it to a bunch of different colors, change the brightness, all that good stuff. Another really neat feature is this reverse camera. This has been in Audis for quite a while, but as you can see, when you get close to the lock stops, the camera actually rotates, and the forward-facing camera will do the same thing. So we'll flip things around, and it rotates. Look at that. Isn't that neat? Gives you a really good view around the vehicle. More forward and reverse cameras should do that. I'm sure it's not cheap, but just a neat feature. A lot of little things in this RS6 add up to a pretty cool driving experience. We've got the air suspension that's always adjusting and making changes depending on your drive mode and your driving conditions. We are taking this out on track tomorrow at M1 Concours, so I'll be able to give you guys some more thoughts on what this is like to drive on track and in a performance scenario. This RS6 puts out a lot of heat from the engine, from the brakes, from everything. It is a heavy, heavy beast, just under 5,000 pounds. So curious to see how many laps it takes for things to get hot. We have four-wheel steering. I love it. It really shrinks the perceived size and weight of this RS6 and gives it a beautiful balance. This is one of the best handling Audis I think I've ever driven, and really the only knock I have against this dynamically is it's a little bit quiet. It's a little bit too quiet and too subdued. I'd like a little bit more volume out of my RS product, but that said, you can always add an exhaust if you want it. This is the sport exhaust, so for a sport exhaust, it's quiet, I think. It does sound nice though. Just not as sweet as the, that 2015 era naturally aspirated RS5 with the V8. That was a really sweet engine. This twin turbo, it has a lot of power, but definitely sucks some of the noise out of the driving experience. One interesting note with this car are the tires. These Pirelli P0s, they have a noise reduction system. It's basically just a layer of foam inside the tire that reduces noise over impacts and potholes. And if you know low profile tires, they get pretty noisy. These 22-inch wheels are pretty quiet over bumps, and this whole car is very quiet. The NVH is fantastic in this RS6. Not a lot of wind noise, not a lot of road noise. It's approaching S8 or Audi A8 levels of refinement and luxury and comfort. It's pretty impressive. I'm not sure BMW and AMG rivals can match this in terms of comfort and NVH. We also have RS2 modes where we can go in and engage special drive modes that we've pre-programmed to whatever we want. Get a little pop and burble from the exhaust there. Opens up the valves. I'm not really noticing as much of a difference in the suspension stiffness and the dynamics between regular mode and RS2 mode. That's the most aggressive settings. I would like a little bit more breath from the drive modes in this RS6, but I think it achieves what it needs to. In pretty much every mode, it's a really nice car to drive. A little bit softer than I was expecting, but the more I've lived with it, the more I've really appreciated the refinement. And I don't think I would be as happy with this RS6 if it weren't so refined and so nice. There is a ton of technology helping this RS6 to drive quickly. We have double wishbone front suspension, a really trick rear steer setup. It does work well. 10 piston calipers. And this has the steel rotors, not the carbon ceramic brakes. The carbon ceramics are $8,500, and they also kind of unlock your speed limiter. So with the steel brakes, top speed is 156 miles an hour. With the carbon ceramics, it's 190, which is pretty fun. Gone are the days of understeering Audis with this four-wheel steering. This is a really nicely balanced car. I believe front weight distribution is 55% thereabouts, so not amazing, but this car handles incredibly well. And let's actually, while we've got some free traffic behind us, let's test out these brakes. There's just a ton of power. I think they're pretty limited by the grip from these Pirellis. I think these Pirellis provide a pretty nice balance between ride comfort, noise levels, handling, but they are definitely not as performance-oriented of a tire as you would see on maybe some of the other options in this class. You'll definitely be getting a lot more grip and traction out of the Michelins, but you'll also be getting a lot more noise out of the Michelins. I've noticed generally Audi has been kind of swaying more towards the luxurious side of things in some of their recent cars. I drove the S4 and compared that to the Acura TLX. A lot more luxurious and less sporty of an experience. But this RS6 does deliver on a performance front. It has just a ton of capability. The car is doing a lot of the work. You definitely feel like there's just a lot going on in the background. You turn in and the car just progressively gets better and better the faster you go, and you can feel the vehicle rotate and respond to all of the tech that's going on, all the things that are happening with the suspension and the transmission and the drivetrain. You can feel the torque vectoring sport differential back there kind of redistributing power between the rear axle, and it's an interesting experience. It's definitely not as connected as maybe some Audi RS products in the past, but it's effective. It makes you feel like you're a good driver, and I think at the end of the day, that's probably what most people want, you know? So I don't think the buyer of this RS6, this is going to be his or her only car. It's going to be, you know, maybe a daily driver, maybe a fun car, but you're going to have something else that's pretty wild and pretty crazy if you're dropping $110,000 to $130,000 on one of these. I'm not sold on this Audi Sport gauge cluster. I think it's a little bit gimmicky, but that's okay. You can turn that off and so it doesn't enable with different drive modes. There are 3 different gauge options. You get the traditional 2 circles, this one that we have right now, and the kind of the Star Wars infinity gauges that have this reverse rev limiter. It's kind of strange. How does the sport differential do launch control into a turn? Let's find out. Pretty well, pretty well. This RS6 does some wild things off the line. It is fun to drive. There's no doubt about it. Even though it's so comfortable, so refined, so just nice, it still puts a smile on your face. Alright guys, well there's your POV night drive of the Audi RS6. It's been a real pleasure driving this thing this week. It's been a bit of a surprise, but it has really grown on me the more time I've spent with it. I think this is definitely a worthy option. It has a cool factor that is kind of almost, it's unrivaled in this segment. The fact that this is in the United States finally, and we've been wanting it and waiting for it for so long, is a pretty compelling reason just to get this car alone. So people absolutely love seeing this RS6 on the road, and there's something to be said about that. It kind of adds to the ownership experience. Volkswagen, Audi enthusiasts go just bonkers when they see this out driving on the street, and so that's always exciting. I had kind of a feeling that would be the case, and it was. But yeah, excited to share this tomorrow with you on the track. Stay tuned for that video. Until then, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you later.
Your mobile device is still in the vehicle.
Yes, and she says that every time. We'll take that out. Thank you for the reminder. And watch how the taillights fade away. Oh, it's the little things, guys. It's the little things that add up. All right. See you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.